Hey guys, Paul McLean here. Welcome to the podcast. I got a very special guest, and this is somebody that I'm excited to bring on. I thought about this in the beginning of the year, like, man, I want to get some people on that are in some different industries, right? That are seeing success, that have an entrepreneur mindset, that are wanting to get after and level up their life, and also seek them to interview and to give them an opportunity to look at family first life. And I'm telling you, we've got some really sharp people coming on, and this is one of them. So guys, welcome Frank the Tank Viscala. Big Frank.
Wow, what an introduction, man. Thank you.
Good, hey, good to have you on, man. And so, dude, we've known each other for a long time, going way back.
Yeah, I was thinking about this on the drive here. I was like, man, I remember we used to go to Ranchero Middle School together with the spiky hair, the IS jeans, and the solos.
It's been a while, man. It has. And the funny thing is, dude, the way fashion works, it's like spiky hair, just give it about 10 years, man. It's going to creep back in. Everything's patterns, right?
Liberty spike.
And they're speaking of patterns, dude, like, because history does repeat itself, man. I know it's cliche, people say it, but dude, it's such a great indication of where we're going, whether it's a stock market, heck, fashion. I mean, I forgot, I realized how true that was. I was at this hotel in Oceanside last week for my daughter's soccer tournament, and it was super nice boutique hotel. It was really cool, and they had this book that was like from like the 1960s or something, and we're going through it, and my 15-year-old was like, oh my god, like those have been popular like the last month. It was like some kind of hair, head thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that's just the way it works, right? And we started talking, like, dude, we've known each other for a long time. In all honesty, man, I've been trying to recruit you for a long time.
Yeah.
Because I just see your skill set and your work ethic and what you've done in different businesses. I'm like, dude, if he could put that in here, like, it's going to be good, man.
Yeah, I remember you recruited me about 5 years ago. I was just starting my own real estate brokerage, and I was a little skeptical. I went to a Primerica meeting before, and that left a bad taste in my mouth. So honestly, I was just really skeptical, and kind of kicking myself a little bit. I should have joined back then. Probably would have been really well off right now. And I mean, I'm doing pretty decent, but it's all good. I'm content with where I'm at. That season happened for me for a reason,
Sure.
and we God put us, and we literally crossed paths one day here at the gym, and here we are.
Yeah, last week, man. The funny thing is, I was watching this movie. I was telling you about it, the Defiant One. It's like a
Right.
series. It's actually really good. My buddy Mark Mead was telling me about it, and Dre, he goes from like Aftermath to Interscope and all these different and he's looking for the next guy, and he finds Eminem. And that morning, I'm like, dude, I want to find another Eminem. We got some really phenomenal leaders and people that have created massive success on the team. I mean, we got like 20 integrity partners. I was like, man, I want to find an Eminem. And then, dude, I bump into the gym, and I'm like, my man. And he came in. I was like, dude, you're the Eminem, dude. We're gonna get this thing going. But dude, what I want to do is kind of go through a little bit about you, and then talk about like what was attractive to you about Family First Life, and why the time seems better now than it was then. But let's start there, man. Kind of like getting to know you a little bit. Like, Frank, how you've got a lot of businesses you've done. Was that always like in you, like wanting to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, excuse me, my throat's all messed up from the pickup game this morning. You guys killed me on that court. Yeah, man, I've always been really entrepreneurial mindset. I've always, wanted to be my own boss, do my own thing, I guess you can say. 8 short years ago, I was selling hot dogs out of a hot dog cart, just parking on Bear Valley and here in Asperia. Eventually got some permits, some license, was parked up at the Victorville Courthouse, and, I was there for a couple of years. I was doing good. I liked it, and, jumped into real estate after that, and was with a brokerage, top producer there for a couple years, and I decided to open my own brokerage. And so, and then recently, with that vehicle, made some decent money and just been investing into other stuff. I opened, well, I didn't open it. I acquired an existing Rocky Mountain franchise. Got my little cup right here.
There you go.
Product placement.
Like a shameless plug you just try to give us there.
You got it, man. You always got to be on, right?
Wait, what is that? Chocolate?
Yeah, we do chocolate, candied apples, and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, caramel apples.
Nice,
It's a
man.
cool little cash flow, passive income business. And then recently, I joined some coaching too because I'm trying to actually, believe it or not, get away from the realtor stuff. I got really big into investing. Started flipping houses, wholesaling. I enjoy that a lot more because I don't have to depend on anybody. It's I depend on myself.
Sure.
And the returns are bigger. So that whole scene's been it's been good to me. It's been good. It's very interesting. I enjoy it. So
Well, dude, think about this. Like, man, there's seasons to everything, and I think everything works out in its good timing, right? Especially when you're seeking God and getting instruction and wisdom from Him. But like, timing's a big deal. Like when you first saw the company 5 years ago, and you had all these different things you're talking about, you're kind of going through. It was just probably not the right time. Maybe
Right.
maybe the Frank then wouldn't be the right Frank to capitalize and explode it. But now those different experiences and things have put you in a position where now you can really take off. It's kind of like I think about like David and Goliath, dude. Like he was anointed king, but he didn't go out there and do king things as far as like leading in the tribe of Israel until like 20 something years later, man.
Right.
He had to develop and grow, and things had to happen to make it the right time. And I think the same thing, man. You look at the market in real estate, like, dude, it's been, there's ups and downs. I remember 27, dude, we were both 19, and step into the mortgage protection business, and I didn't know nothing about an economy. I don't know, Frank, if you cheated like I did in high school, but dude, I cheated, and I was a good cheater.
For sure, having the TC change our bumper grades up to an A from a C.
Yeah, do whatever it could, man. Persuasion at its finest. But dude, like I wasn't really, paying attention to what was going on in the economy, but I just knew I needed to make money. It was '07, got my license, and I didn't know what was going on in the mortgage market then. But what I do know, looking back, like, dude, we had so many people joining from real estate, wholesalers, mortgage brokers, loan officers, like that whole industry. We had so many people coming in, and a lot of the biggest leaders in organizations and IMOs across the country in financial services it was birthed in that season.
Wow.
Now we're looking at the same thing, right? I mean, you could say what you want to say or whatever, but like, dude, numbers don't lie. When refinances are down 98% from last year, and foreclosures are up like 700%, and all that stuff that's taking place, it's all supply and demand. I mean, people try to get in like, well, this and that. It's like, dude, everything comes down to simple supply and demand.
Yeah.
And right now, dude, like this is the time where we're going through another like rebirthing of new success stories that will come in the next couple years that would have never came before.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right. Like you just said a little bit ago, history it repeats itself. It really does. The industries it's very slow right now. I mean, these high 7% interest rates. It's people can't get approved for anything. They're getting approved, but for a lot less, and sellers don't want to lower their pricing. So the market's kind of at a standstill right now. I've never been through a market this tough. I got in around 2014, so we're already past the Great Recession. So it's very slow. I see a lot of slow agents. So I think a lot of them are going to have to reinvent themselves, with the new industry, the financial services industry. It's either that, reinvent yourself, work harder, or go get a job 9 to 5. But, everyone that's,
Hey, what are you seeing in the market? Because you're really in it. Like, you got your hands in that space. Do you see like a lot of people just kind of hanging on with hope, like that it's going to turn quicker? They're just kind of waiting it out. Do you see more people open-minded to saying, hey, I need to look at a vehicle that's going to keep driving me at the speed I was driving at before to cross the gap to get to my goals? Like, what do you see as far as a typical response, from the people that are in that market, in the industry?
The typical response, and, what I see from a lot of agents, realtors, you can say, they're just holding on hope that these interest rates just come back down so things go back to normal. So, I think a lot of them eventually they're gonna have to either start selling off those fancy cars they got, or get a side hustle, get a 9 to 5, because the bill's gonna come due. The bill always comes due.
Yeah.
So,
well, dude, I'll tell you what, man. So when COVID happened, I think a lot of people were looking to get back to normal. Certain people, I think most people, in fact, like, dude, if they could just get back to normal. I think the companies that thrived and just really kind of came out at another level, they weren't looking to get back to normal, man. They were looking to grow and take over and adapt and evolve. And we look at like the biggest year that Family First Life ever had was 2020, when other companies and industries and IMOs in our space were like, man, if we could just get back to normal, we were like, dude, how do we capitalize? What is this showing us and revealing us that we can use to level up? And we started like telesales, virtual sales. We started building things out that would help support that, and dude, we exploded. And I think it's the same thing with right now in not just the real estate industry, right, or market, but across the board with a lot of people. I think a lot of people, as you go into recession, it affects a lot of different people. The economy and the economics of what their situation looks like, whether it's job loss, cut off, pay, whatever it is, it affects a lot of people. But the people that do the best, they're not looking for it to get back to normal. They're saying, what can I do now to capitalize? And that's what I love about you, Frank, because your open-mindedness, which is translated in all these different ventures that you've gone out there and seen success in, you said, man, hey, I can see the pattern. How can I take advantage of this? How can I adapt and evolve? Sure. And talk about that, man. Like adaptability and evolving, has that played an important role in your careers and in the different businesses you've done?
Well, yeah, definitely, for sure. And I mean, I've always had this saying in the back of my head, adapt or die. That's just how it goes. Businesses and the economy changes so rapidly. I mean, you got to keep up. I mean, we had a meeting last night, and you used the Blockbuster Netflix analogy. Look how fast that happened. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly evolving. I try to stay ahead, up to what's happening, stay ahead of the game. So what I see right now, I see it for what it is. The real estate market's going to be slow. It's a great career, it's a great industry. I'll always have my license to do business there as well, but I see opportunity over here with FFL, and just from what you spoke last night, it looks really rewarding. You're helping families, you're protecting them. So that's really intriguing to me. On top of that too, I see it as another vehicle for me to, really influence people and really help people. I went to a conference last week, and it was called Surge. It's a Christian conference about business and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And they were talking about, a lot of us business leaders, we got to actually use our status and, do better with that wealth to impact more lives, you know what I mean, for God's kingdom. So that really struck a chord with me. It almost like it's maybe it's, this far in my life to barely see it, but I really felt like, boom, there's my why. Of course, our family is all of our whys. You know what I mean? We take care of our families and, provide for them. But I really feel like that was my purpose. I was like, wow. And then I had just bumped into you, prior to that. And so I got a little excited about it and prayed about it. And I'm just like, wow, this could be really good. I mean, whether it's me, even if it's not just me producing as an agent, if I can, gather and recruit a bunch of agents to better their, lifestyle, to help other people in the process, families, protect them. I think it's really going to be a really good thing, and God's going to use me for that.
I agree, dude. 100%, man. Well said. And I think that, when you look at scripture, dude, and the second greatest command is to like love your neighbor, right? And to value people, love people. And like, dude, I think that this industry, in the moment when I started, I didn't see it, but now it's been 15 years. It's like, dude, it's so evident. Like, there's nothing more you can really help your neighbor with than like a life insurance plan when it comes to selling a service. When they die, you're there to help make sure that the financial support is there. Like if there's a widow, that widow is not an impoverished widow because you cared enough to have a conversation to call that lead, to call that family and help them out. And then the same thing with like the business side of it, man. Like I believe the people that recruit and build the biggest agencies, Frank, that is their why. Their why is, how do I go out there and give more people a shot to change their life? Now, it's their shot to take, but it's up to me to let them know that there's a shot over here that they can take.
Right.
I was just looking for a shot at 19. I didn't know where it was at, where it could come from. I was just like, can anybody give me a shot. And that shot came from my cousin just saying, hey, dude, you know, you can get your insurance license. And I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. It was so new. There was so much to unpack. I just knew like, all right, I'll get going. Maybe there's a shot here. And as I continued to stay plugged in and truly committed, I started to realize how big of a shot this was to take. And the thing is this, yes, you can create success, but dude, in this business, you can create significance. And the significance is you being a part of somebody else's success story. And dude, when you taste significance, man, success never tastes the same.
Right.
Then you're like, man, I know how to go out there and create some great. And obviously the significance leads to your greater success as well. And it's such a beautiful business to do that in, you know? And I just think that, dude, you said it right. Like the people out there that, you know, maybe they've lost some hope, right?
Right.
The market, economy, maybe something's taken place that's rattled them, it's shook them, and they're looking to get some hope. Man, I'll tell you what, this industry, Family First Life, man, it's a hope dealer. You know what I mean? And you come over here and you can see a very illuminated path to move you forward, to continue to progress like you were last year in the industry that you're in that was doing well. This is now the path that can get you to that next level, man. And I see it clear. Frank, as we wrap up, man, talk about like, you know, I think that most people, when they do something new, the thing that they lack, that if it was there quicker, it would help them go out there and do the activity that will lead to the result. And I think that's commitment, man. Like no different than, you know, I guess like if you're married, if your spouse said, hey, you know, I'm 99% committed to you in 2023. There's only going to be one night, an unfaithful night, just one time through the whole year. Are you good with that? You know, you're going to be like, heck no, I ain't good with that. I want you 100% faithful and committed. And I think that it's the same thing with the business. When somebody starts a business, it's their baby, man.
Right,
They're married to it. And they've got to be 100% committed. They got to show themselves to be 100% committed. You know, talk about that. Like how have you seen that play a part in your success and the things you've done?
Well, you know, I guess you could look at that from a couple different, you know, perspectives. When you say 100% committed, I don't think, you know, just my personal opinion, you don't have to give, you know, 100% of your time to that one thing, right? But if you are going to, you know, get into business, you need to, you know, be consistent 100%. So whether that's you're going to be, say, a new agent comes on board here, if they're going to commit, you know, 2-3 hours a day, you know, on the phones, whatever, be committed and be consistent, you know, and then you can go do your other job or whatever else it is that you got, you know, commitments to. So with me, it's always been be consistent. That's the secret, honestly, in every single business, every entrepreneur, any agent, any field, be consistent. Consistency is key. You know, I always used to tell my agents, working works. It's as simple as that.
I love it, man.
You know, so
I think, dude, consistency is one of those things where it's not a sexy word. You know, you don't like, dude, I'm consistent. You know, but it is one of the most important things. I agree. You could ever have, man, and I think that's essential, dude. Like when you're blocking out time to do whatever that is, if that's to be there with your child, to be there on a date night with your spouse, to be there in your business, dude, be present and purposeful in that time. That's commitment, right? And then you don't have to start swaying in other commitments because you're halfway there because you were halfway there over here. Like, just be there 100%. And I agree, man. It doesn't have to be all your time. But when you unpack and reverse engineer your goal, if you say, hey, I want this to work. I want this to be successful. Well, if that's the case, then you want to make sure that the time is blocked out and that time is going to lead to the result you want. And then if you're committed with full focus in that time block, man, it's gonna produce fruit as consistency starts to do its work.
for sure, and you know, and it's hard, you know, especially people that come from like a 9-to-5 world or whatnot like that. You know, it's real easy to get complacent, especially if you're just working from home. You know, you're sitting there, you're not ready, you haven't showered, you know, Judge Judy's on, kids screaming in the background. So, you know, it's an adjustment for a lot of people. But I mean, if people could take that advice and really, you know, be disciplined with it and be consistent, you know, the sky's the limit for sure.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you, dude. And I'll tell you what, man, you know, I think that the best is yet to come. I believe that there's a partnership here that's going to lead to some great results. It's going to impact and change the lives of a lot of people. I mean, I can see it. It ain't going to happen in the next 22 minutes, man, but over a period of time, we'll be able to see the great fruits from that. And that's what it's about. Like, I remember partnering with Andrew Taylor, 16 years ago, and to see the amount of people that he's impacted, the money he can give to different charities and the church and his mom, and then the people that he works with and what they've been able to do. And it's just, dude, like, that's what it's
about.
all about,
Yeah,
being able to make a difference and impact others. And everybody has the ability to do that here. I'll tell you guys this much. If you're like, hey, I want to know more about Family First Life. It sounds good, but unpack it. Like, what is it? How does it all work? How do the leads work? What's the compensation look like? Is it training truly free? Is there no contract? What is it? Reach out to Frank, and Frank can unpack it. He's a guy that's going to want to serve you and help you. And I've known him, for a long time, which is why I was like, dude, I'll partner with you and I'll help you grow this thing. He has a heart to serve. He has a heart for you. And if you're committed to giving this thing a shot, whether that's 5 hours a week, it's up to you. Reach out. And if you want to explore more, let Frank kind of answer your questions and see if it's a good fit mutually moving forward. So, Frank, appreciate you, man. Guys, make it a big week. Be strong, stay steadfast, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.